has served in the military. You know, it takes a special kind to protect everyone and really take care of others as well. So let me just get the live stream tweeted out up on my other computer up here. I hope that you are having a great day. Coming on for a very quick video today. I am in the midst of my CMT level 2 last week push for studying. So know that, and I will be, hello Salvatore, jumping back deep into the books. Was outside enjoying the beautiful sun that we have up here in Montreal right now, and enjoying being outside. So today I do not have a list for everybody, but I just want to, let's switch it over here. We'll go ahead and look at the major indexes, the majors, what's going on with the market. Lots of signs that we could potentially be seeing a top out up here with the volume, right? That volume is crucial. Aloha Kawakawa. Also, if you do like the live stream, please hit that like button. Share it with others, a free way to help others learn more about trading stocks, crypto, everything like that. And we'll check out the crypto market as well. Really liking Cardano at the moment for an inverted head and shoulders, potential move to the upside. And also still bullish on XRP, XLM, and a couple other ones as well. And we'll go over them. So nice, Salvatore, you'll get it, no worries. Yeah, well, Canadian flags, isn't that, what day is that for Canada? I forget. What day is it where we recognize, it's not Patriots Day. Well, Patriots Day was last Monday for Quebec, actually, right? It's Victoria Day everywhere else, but Patriots Day, I believe, in Quebec, which is kind of cool. And there's the other one in November, right? For Dave, isn't it in November? The other one? All right. Let's look at the SPY right here. So I'm going to try to do this in like 15, 20 minutes. If you guys have questions on stocks, put them in the chat. We will go over them, and we'll also go over some crypto as well. All right, so looking right here, we're seems almost like we're maybe having a bit of a rounded top potential for what we're going to see to the downside. I would look at that 412 level. You can see right where pretty much where I stopped, maybe even 411.50. If we go down below 411.50, we will likely see a big drop and correction in the market. Again, S&P 500 does have 500 different stocks, so this is why it's used as a benchmark. This is the ETF for it. And then we have the Nasdaq 100. So the Nasdaq 100 almost looks like it has a bit of a double top, just a little bit higher here, but maybe this is a bigger head and shoulders, right? A right shoulder. Then we have big volume at the bottom, head right here, and another bottom. So I would look to see if we can break below 316. I'm super cautious up here, especially studying everything with my CMT. And the market does run in cycles. And Gann pointed out that we tend to have a 12-year cycle of massive correction of 30 to 50%. So I would rather be extra cautious right here than see the money just sort of slowing down, right? We saw a top here, and the volume, the volume is dropping on the tech stocks. Everything's sort of slowly coming out of the pandemic. Places are opening up. Are the computers and technology sectors going to be so strong? A lot of word out there as well about, you know, the censorship, everything with Facebook and censoring the shots. I want to be really careful so I don't get deplatformed here as well, because Google's, you know, censoring as well, even on YouTube. So I have to be careful of the wording. And looking at that, the big tech stocks weigh in on when we have Apple, Apple also had an issue with their renewal for their apps. Yeah, they want to hire someone with digital currency experience. Yeah, well, the world, in my opinion, is going to be going to a crypto-based central bank system for transferring. And in fact, June 12th, I will be doing a workshop with Stephanie Kammerman's company at thedarkpools.com. So keep your eyes peeled for that. As soon as I have a link, I will put it down in the description. So I'll be going into specifics of specific coins. If you guys have followed me for a while, you've probably heard me talk about them. But I'm going to go into the history of the banking a bit more. I'm also going to go into the specific coins, where all this links up together, and potential timing for everything to happen. Let's look at the Russell 2000. So these are the bottom 2,000 out of the Russell 3000, the basket of smaller stocks. This will tend to give us a picture of what is happening as well. So many times it'll be the Russell 2000 and the SPY S&P 500. So when we look at it, let me take off the little eyeball here. When we look at it on a weekly chart up here, it seems like we just stalled, right? We pulled back in March, shot up, super drastic, extreme recovery, right? And hey, look at this, right? If we go to like a sine wave, let's do this. If we go to a sine wave, down, up, you would anticipate another down move, right? And if this cycle right here, well, the down here was really short. It took 8 weeks from that stalling point at the top to come back down. So if we go 8 weeks out, say maybe we're just having that happen now, and we go 8 weeks out, you know, maybe we're looking at roughly July, 4th of July week, for a major correction and drop to the downside. I'm really, really extra hesitant up here because the volume, even on the weekly, and look, you can see this is a really cool indicator. I found it from a crypto exchange called the Awesome Indicator or Awesome Oscillator. I think it's an oscillator. Awesome MACD Cross Tactic. Awesome Oscillator is what it's called. And so you can see that we started to have the slowdown back in the end of February, and it's slowly starting. We had the MACD cross here on the 22nd of March, we had the pullback, and now it's still in that downward cycle. So if we go all the way to the next downward cycle, we're going to be looking roughly, you know, beginning of July for maybe a potential bottom, maybe a time to jump in. Many times we see that the indexes tend to have a flat month in June. So being on the sidelines is not necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion, to wait for that clear direction. There's almost too much indecision for me at the moment. Right now on that weekly chart, let's make this the dominant chart here, that when we're looking at this on the weekly chart, we have this area 204, oops, not that. I want this rectangle. So if we have this like this, we have it up right here. It needs to go above 235 or below 205. Then I'm going to feel, hey, there's a clear decision. But right now, since how many weeks have we been going sideways really on the index? Yes, it does have a channel move, or excuse me, a channel move sideways. For 17 weeks, we've really been going sideways within this channel, this rectangular box. It's gone up a bit, so maybe we could even tighten it up here and say, okay, if we go below 216 with heavy volume, we're going to see a bigger drop to the bottom. And this could be that big disbursement box. Let's look at the SPY on the weekly too and see, we don't really have that same horizontal movement. We have a bit of horizontal movement from the 12th of April, tax day roughly, and we see it more on the Qs as well. So in my opinion, I'm being extra cautious. Let's look at the VXX as well. VXX is an indicator of fear, not a great thing to trade. Do not recommend it. You can see it's always going down, right? And they tend to reset it as well. This actually is set up to give you the volatility of the S&P 500. The price will give you the volatility of the S&P 500 over the next 30 days within one standard deviation pretty much. So when we look at this, what caught my eye is this, right? We have these 2 weeks here, highest 2 weeks of VXX trading ever. And we're at the highs, right? So if we're at the highs and we have the highest of the fear index being traded right now, gives me a red flag, not a red, white, and blue flag, but a red flag that there's going to be an imminent move, right? Now we can see this sort of this natural regression line right here. This was from up here, but I can adjust this here. And let's put this over here. So maybe it's going to come down to 20 and then it's going to crash the market. You know, this is speculation, right? It's just a lot of things are lining up. The banks are just printing money like crazy. There's only so long that the Fed can continue to print money and before it's going to affect the banks, right? And if we look at this as well, much like the S&P 500, when we look at this, we talk about cycles. We talk about the flow. I know I'm getting all into harmonics and stuff, and I'm seeing it in the charts, right? So here we could say here is a potential, actually this is really good practice. So here's one, and here's a low, and then here's the other high, right? So let's measure this time frame. These are weeks, right? So this is 48 bars, and then we go from here. So what's our dominant? 57. So actually, if we move this over right here, that's more like the top, right? That's, let's see, how far? So roughly 50 bars. So maybe every 25 weeks, we see a peak or a valley, right? 24 to 25 weeks. Here's one. And then we'll, whoops. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to do this. Here's one, for example. And then we'll say roughly, looks like maybe right here. So we can see, all right, every 24 weeks, we're going to see a big change. But the dominant cycle, which is usually the lows, is going to be, for example, from here to here. Okay, so let's look at this. From here to here, 67 bars. From here to here, 67 bars. 66. Let's go from here to, oh look, 4 more weeks would put us right at July. Okay, I'm totally blown away at this now because I didn't do this before. And now looking at this and looking and studying the sign and everything like that with harmonics, I'm pretty much convinced that we are going to have a crash within the next 4 weeks of the stock market. Based on harmonics, based on volume, which is really cool that it's all coming together. And you guys are getting to see it live. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. But when we look at this, the cycles, the harmonics, that it looks like it's pretty much imminent. Things only continue to go up for so long, then they have to come down. And just the ebb and flow of the nature of the market, we have that rotation, right? It's constantly, at a certain point, people start to take money out. June tends to be a flat month on the stock exchange. What happens if, this is XLF too, that's pretty cool. So what happens if the banks all of a sudden aren't allowed to deal with the money anymore, right? It's so devalued because of all this printing of money with inflation. Hey, all right, we just printed, 6 trillion. Let's throw on another 6 trillion. And hey, let's give half to Iran and let's give more over here to these other countries and stuff like that. Well, first of all, let's, in my personal opinion, keep it in the States. Second of all, why are we printing so much? Let's look at other things such as job numbers. Yes, 22 million jobs were lost, and Biden's administration is saying, hey, we created 1.5 million. Well, you're still kind of missing that 19.5 million that were lost due to the pandemic. So don't really necessarily give yourself a pat on the back because you're still down 19.5 million. You didn't really create new jobs. Those jobs were jobs that were shut down by the government, right? So it's not really, I don't know. Sorry, we'll get off the politics wagon. So looking at that, let's look at the majors. Let's look at Apple. So Apple on the weekly, hey, maybe we've got another head and shoulders type scenario. Let's look at it on the daily. Help yourself before you help others on oxygen on an airplane, dude. Yes. So Well, I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm loving life right at the moment. But I just feel like we're going to have a ginormous stock market crash, and I want everybody to be prepared, right? Let's all be prepared for it. So Apple, we've seen the top here and right here. We were not able to overtake this. Looks more like a head and shoulders setup. So potentially a double top, then that failed, right? And now here we have a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder with a neckline down here at 119. If we go below 119, more importantly, if we go below 123.37, we have had 20 million in dark pool prints between 123.37 and 127.85. If we go below this, bye-bye. Apple's number one in the S&P 500, I believe, and number two in the Qs. So that would heavily weigh on those two indexes. Let's check out Microsoft as well. Microsoft, they're inverted. So one of them is number one in the Qs and one of them is number one on the SPY. So Microsoft is number one on the Qs, number two on the SPY. And it looks fairly similar, right? So maybe we could have, hey, a little bit of a shoulder here. It seems like it's having almost an angular head and shoulders, right? So here's our neckline pretty much at that 50 simple moving average. If we drop below that 20 simple and below the 50, there's a chance that we could see this pull back down. I would look for 238, then on down to 227, then down here 214, maybe all the way down to 200, which is, 25% off the top. Amazon as well has really been struggling to stay above 3250. That has been a very strong resistance. Also big time selling it was on Facebook, not on Amazon, but on Facebook. Let's go to the Form 4s. See, Form 4 Facebook. Also check out Brave, a great safer platform or browser for surfing the internet. So yeah, pretty much Mark Zuckerberg sells every single day. 52,000, 48,000, 52,000. So he's got, it looks like maybe it's an auto sell. I don't know. Maybe this is an auto sell setup for like his, for his foundation and everything. But it really started, you can see it happened here, it happened, and it's just been happening consistently since October of 2020. That every single day Zuckerberg has been selling. Of course, buying is much more influential, but selling every single day seems really suspect to me. But maybe it's just his way to finally say sayonara, right? He's really the only CEO that has not really stepped down. Didn't Bill Gates step down from being CEO? Bezos stepped down from being CEO, and now it seems like that's the next step maybe for Zuckerberg as well. What about commodities? Do you think stocks that deal with raw materials will be similarly affected like you? I think that, yeah, inflation is really going to play a role. Metals will likely see explode based on the fact that there has been a lot of bank manipulation of the prices. And hey, W Diggs. And so we will see that all of that manipulation is going to catch up to them when the use function of the silver really hits the paper market, not so much the physical market, but the paper market. Many companies use silver and burn it, much like burning a crypto, so that there's not as much silver. It's constantly being utilized in solar panels, batteries, a lot of EV functions. And when we see that disappears, that we will see the silver and metal market really move to the upside. In my personal opinion, I think silver has more of a move to happen than gold. So potentially looking to add to my silver coin collection, have a bunch of silver, but I'm looking to add more silver coins. All right, let's look at Tesla as well. So Tesla, love Tesla, love Musk with his initiatives and everything like that. However, looking at the chart, not so sure that we're going to be able to break out of this downward trend right here at 676. It seems as if this might be a dead cat bounce right here with a potential to roll over. If we drop back down below 575, I think we'll be heading back down into the 400s personally. And I would love to buy some Tesla down there at 400. You can see we also had this resistance up here, roughly 460. And once it broke out over here, we had a big move to the upside. So again, big picture, right? We see our little cycles up, down, up, and maybe we'll be heading down. Silver 10-ounce bullions, however, unable to find a good local dealer. You know what, Salvatore? In my opinion, coins might be easier to deal with in the future. Why? If silver goes to an astronomical amount, and potentially there's a use function for currency type scenario to redeem it for services or something like that, that if you have coins, that's going to be a lot easier than breaking apart a 10-ounce bar. Just a thought. All right, let's check out Facebook. Facebook screamed higher after earnings, pulled back, had a wedge. We had a nice little breakout here. Double top setup. Yeah. Hold on, guys. Just have to hide somebody. We have a little troll today. All right. So those are the majors looking at it right now. You wanted to look at XD. So let's look at XD, steel. Yeah, I like steel, and I also like X. So looking at it for them to potentially move to the upside. Oh, no worries, Salvatore. You've been right last time. Considering SENS, what do you think about it now? So SENS right now, I don't know why all these red lines are here. I don't need them. But looking at it, would look for it more to break up above that 50 simple moving average on the daily. So more up above 220 than a test up here at 270. Above 270, then be looking for it to test over here at 328. That's what I'd be looking at. So I'd watch 220, 270, and 328. Above 328, I think that you would likely see, hey, this would be in the next wave up, coming up to test those highs, $5 or above. All right, let's look at the crypto world. So this is, I'm going to add on ADA over here. Liking ADA. I liked the setup off of right here. We had an inverted head and shoulders. Right here, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then I did this. It's the sleepy but happy face. Once we break out up above here, I'd be looking for a move up to roughly 228, right up here. From the measured move from the depth here to the rim, adding that on roughly up to 228. I personally entered a small position over at 154 on this day. When was it? This day. I entered it on the 28th. Yeah, I entered it on Friday. And I said, as long as we could hold here, but it's a smaller position, I felt confident. And it continued to move to the upside using the 50 simple moving average really as support. This is my exit line, 131. And now looking for 228. So potential 60-cent move, in my opinion, up to 228 as a longer term target. Also, XDC has been basing down here on this 161 EMA in a nice consolidation box, right? I showed you guys that box at the top on IWM and QQQ. That would be distribution. Looking at it here, this is consolidation. The fact that it is holding this area for a long time, I really like. That means that people are getting into it, but it's not exploding just yet. Low volatility will typically lend itself to high volatility, bigger movements. So looking at this, we had a move down, sideways price action, consolidating, looking for this to catapult up and have a bigger move to the upside, which we see as well on a lot of these. You're going to ask a forbidden little question. You know what, Morgan? In my personal opinion, I don't think that it will. I think it is all smoke and mirrors. There's a big, super huge use function to it. And they have, in my opinion, if they lost, what could they confiscate? They could confiscate what has not already been issued out by the Ripple Trust. However, the personal coins that are in people's hands, I do not believe that they could touch. They would have to go to every single exchange around the world. There's over 384 different crypto exchanges. They would have to shut them all down from trading Ripple, which is not, in my opinion, going to be the best for crypto around the world. So we will see. But I think, that the crypto holders will be paid nicely for holding on into the future. So we see that same box of consolidation right over here, right at the bottom, that this has been going sideways more right here for about the same amount of time as XDC. Let's check out Iota, same pattern, right? Algo as well, same pattern. So you can see that these are consolidating at the bottom. In my opinion, this is forming a support, right? So these are the top coins that I am personally looking at. XRP, I have XRP CAD because I have some friends that trade it in the Canadian version. XLM, Stellar Network. Stellar Network has been set up as part of that ISO 2022 standard as well. So liking it, and you can see that they all have that exact same trading pattern, right? They are all in the same movement. They have a range right now with a base, right? And then a top. Good. Thank you, Asif. Been busy studying. About to head back to the books soon. And so looking for all of these once they break out from that resistance area to continue to move to the upside with a lot of momentum. Do you guys have any other specific questions? Otherwise, I will wrap it up because I do need to go back and hit the books and apply more of that technical analysis to the charts for you guys. So be prepared. It looks like looking at the cycles of the market, looking at XLF, the financial cycles, that really we are setting up for a bottom in 4 weeks, right? Looking at the cycles and the harmonics and the analysis like that. All right. So thank you guys for joining me on Memorial Day. I hope you're having a very special day. Yeah. And I will see you all tomorrow, 12:15. Carpe Profit, seize those profits one trade at a time. Let the chart tell you when to get in and when to get out. Do not overthink it. All right. See you guys soon. Bye.